since you were looking for your friend, the one you let hit it and never called you again. Remember when he told y'all our philosophy, possibly speak tongues, beat drums, Abyssinian Street Baptist rap. But you rather make it hard.
One of the co-founders of the legendary group, the Fugees, has taken legal action against Lauryn Hill, accusing her of fraud. Pras Michel has filed a federal lawsuit alleging breach of contract over their ill-fated 2023 reunion tour, which was abruptly canceled. This legal drama has only added to the turbulence surrounding the group's recent history. Lauryn Hill, known for her unapologetic stance on truth and artistry, once said, "The music industry is just a microcosm of the world, so whenever you stand for something and you stand for goodness and truth, you will always get resistance. That's period." It seems this resistance is now coming from within her own circle, making the Fugees' legacy even more complex. Stay tuned, because this story is far from over. Now, Lauryn Hill wasn't just any old singer, she was a cultural movement. On top of the world, with Grammys on her shelf, chart-topping hits under her belt, and a voice that could stop you in your tracks, Lauryn seemed unstoppable. But beneath the glitz and glamour lay a story far more complicated. Her rapid rise to fame was followed by an equally shocking disappearance, leaving fans and the industry wondering, what happened to the girl who was supposed to dominate the music world? The truth, it's far messier than anyone could have imagined. Let's rewind to where it all began, when Lauryn first hit the scene with the Fugees. You remember that, right? Lauryn wasn't just a background vocalist or part of the lineup, she was the heartbeat of the group. Her voice, her energy, and her undeniable talent took the Fugees from underground cool to mainstream dominance in what felt like no time at all. Lauryn Hill wasn't just in the spotlight, she was the spotlight, and that was only the beginning. When the score dropped, it wasn't just big, it was legendary. An instant fan classic with tracks like Killing Me Softly with his song and Ready or Not had the whole world singing along, and Lauryn's vocals, they were absolutely next level. She wasn't just another member of the Fugees. Lauryn Hill was the face of the group, and it was crystal clear she was on a completely different playing field. But Lauryn wasn't about to stop there. Oh no, sis was just warming up. When she decided to go solo, people had questions. Can she really do it on her own? And let me tell you, honey, she didn't just do it, she crushed it. The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill wasn't just an album, it was a cultural moment. Every track was iconic. Doo-wop, That Thing, X Factor, to Zion. It was like Lauryn had tapped into a level of musical genius the world had never seen before. The critics adored her, the fans were obsessed, and the awards came rolling in. At the Grammys, Lauryn made history, taking home 5 trophies in a single night, unheard of at the time. And let's not forget her unforgettable role as Rita Watson in Sister Act 2, back in the habit alongside Whoopi Goldberg. That performance wasn't just memorable, it was legendary. Lauryn Hill wasn't just a star, she was a force of nature. But here's the kicker. While Lauryn Hill was out here making history, whispers started swirling, rumors began bubbling beneath the surface, and even though she was on top of the world, those closest to her could see the cracks forming. Fame looked glamorous from the outside, but behind the scenes, the pressure was real. It didn't take long for things to start unraveling. Lauryn once said, I have a hard time being so hard on the music world, especially hip-hop, because most of them come out of the hood, 17 years old, having no concept of what life really is. She was speaking from experience. She was that girl. There was no denying her talent, her drive, and her undeniable star power. But it seemed like the higher she climbed, the heavier the weight of it all became. And honey, that's when the real drama started. The spotlight was bright, but the shadows it cast behind the scenes were darker than anyone could have imagined. Lauryn was no stranger to the struggle, but even she couldn't have predicted what was coming next. There are people who have not reached that point in their walk, you know. Yes, there's a little anger, there's a little resentment because you raise a standard, especially when you do it and you make some noise, you know. And you do it and people actually listen to what you have to say. And like, your record is bumping on the radio and you're saying something that holds a mirror up to a lot of the negativity and self-indulgent things and messages that a lot of other people, but we're all young. Lauryn Hill wasn't just breaking records, she was raising standards, shaking the industry with her message and her music. After collecting Grammys like they were souvenirs, fans naturally expected her to keep the momentum going. The hits were undeniable, the world was listening, and the stage was set set for her to dominate. But then, out of nowhere, she disappeared. One minute, Lauryn was everywhere. On the radio, in the headlines, on every stage, and the next, gone. No tours, no new music, no appearances, just silence. And everyone was left asking the same question. What happened to Lauryn Hill? Well, let's just say Lauryn Hill wasn't living the dream everyone imagined. Sis was dealing with a lot, and the industry wasn't all glitz and glam for her. Word on the street, she was completely burnt out. The fame, the constant pressure to be perfect, the non-stop scrutiny, it was taking a toll. And then there was the music industry itself, with all its shady deals and politics. Lauryn was never one to play by the rules, and it seemed like the business side of things was draining the very creativity that made her a star. But hold on, it gets deeper. Rumors were flying that Lauryn was battling some serious personal struggles too. If you were paying attention, you'd notice how she started leaning more into spirituality, stepping back from the flashy lifestyle and materialism. Lauryn explained it herself. The Matrix was a banging movie to me, and the reason why I appreciated it so much was because you remember at the end when Neo realized his potential. He started to see the binary code. You remember that? The whole world. That's where I'm trying to be spiritually. I'm trying to see the word of God in the whole world. So every time that agent throws a punch, I'm like, I see you. Oh, okay. I'm just catching his punches, So I'm not afraid, I'm not afraid because I'm starting to see that, things are just situations materializing themselves and oh, he's an agent. Some believed Lauryn was on a journey to find herself, while others speculated that behind-the-scenes drama had driven her to step away. Her retreat wasn't just about music. It felt like she was trying to escape everything. And while fans were practically begging for a comeback, Lauryn was busy living life on her own terms, leaving us all with more questions than answers. But trust me, the mystery was just getting started. And just when you thought Lauryn Hill's story couldn't get any messier, boom, here comes the tax drama. That's right, the queen of soulful anthems found herself in some serious legal trouble. Back in 2012, the IRS came knocking, and let's just say it wasn't a friendly visit. Turns out Lauryn hadn't paid taxes in years. We're talking millions owed to Uncle Sam, and y'all already know, when it comes to getting his money, the government does not play. Lauryn tried to explain herself, saying she had been protecting her family and living underground to escape the crushing pressures of the music industry. She claimed she wasn't about that life anymore and needed to step away for her own sanity. But the IRS, oh, they weren't hearing it. In 2013, Lauryn Hill was sentenced to 3 months in federal prison for tax evasion. It was shocking. How does someone go from dominating the world stage to sitting in a prison cell? Fans were devastated, and the media. They went wild with the story, but Lauryn wasn't about to go quietly. Nope. In classic Lauryn fashion, she dropped a fiery track called Consumerism just before heading to prison. The song took aim at society, the government, and the entire industry that had tried to box her in, with lyrics like consumerism run through like a tumor, ageism, sexism, racism. She made it clear that even when she's down, she's never out. Lauryn Hill might have been locked up, but her voice, that remained unstoppable. Lauryn and I did time together. We did 90 days together, and that encounter changed my life. One former inmate revealed, I was cool with the counselor who took her in, and she assigned Lauryn to me. She was in jail at Danbury because of tax evasion, and really that's sad because she didn't handle her taxes. According to those who got to know her, Lauryn's situation was more complicated than it appeared. She believed her business affairs were being handled, but in reality, things fell apart. If you really get to understand Lauryn, you realize she suffered a lot growing up, trusting people, being a star at an early age, and having so many people depending on her for income. A lot of people used her or misused her for their own gain or fame, they explained. Despite her struggles, they described Lauryn as one of the most prolific spiritual people I've ever met in my whole entire life. When Lauryn finally walked out of prison, she didn't come back with apologies or regrets. If anything, she doubled down, claiming the system was rigged and standing firm in her beliefs. She made it clear that her choices were about protecting her peace, not conforming to the rules of an industry or society that she felt was broken. But let's be real, this was just another chapter in Lauryn Hill's roller coaster life story. And if you think the tax drama and prison stint were the end of her troubles, oh honey, you haven't even scratched the surface. Lauryn Hill's tale is far from over. Now, let's get into Lauryn Hill's personal life, because this is where the drama really heats up. Lauryn and Rohan Marley, Oh, they were the it couple, music royalty with Lauryn's legendary status and the Marley legacy in the mix. Everyone was rooting for them, and why not? They had 5 beautiful kids together and seemed like the perfect blend of talent and legacy. Rohan had nothing but kind words about their bond, saying, "It was wonderful. It was beautiful. I learned a lot. Maybe living together, being together as a couple, doesn't work in that sense. But as a human being, as the mother of my children, I highly respect her." When asked about their kids, he gushed, "They're all beautiful. They do wonderful things. They're all creative. I have 12 children, and she lets her children live and be themselves. That's what I love. Our children, I like her ideology as a person." But as always, things weren't as perfect as they seemed from the outside. Rumors began swirling, and let me tell you, the gossip was wild. Sources claimed there was trouble in paradise, with whispers that Rohan was out here doing his own thing. And it wasn't just one-sided. Allegations of infidelity flew in both directions, painting a picture of a relationship that was anything but harmonious. Then came the bombshell moment that had everyone talking, Lauryn's 6th child. In 2011, Lauryn welcomed her 6th baby, but it didn't take long for things to get messy. Rohan made headlines when he outright denied being the father. Yes, denied. According to the rumor mill, the baby's father wasn't Rohan at all. It was reportedly an unknown musician Lauryn had allegedly gotten involved with while still with Rohan. Can you believe it? What started as music royalty turned into a headline-making scandal, leaving fans in complete disbelief. Fans were stunned. Lauryn Hill, balancing the chaos of relationship drama while raising 6 kids, had the world waiting with bated breath for her big musical comeback. But if there's one thing we know about Lauryn, it's that she wasn't about to follow anyone else's rules. She stayed focused on her family, letting the rumors swirl but never letting them define her. After stepping away from the spotlight, Lauryn didn't just disappear. She went through what many called a spiritual awakening. But this wasn't your average transformation. Lauryn began speaking openly about her connection to God, distancing herself from the materialism and corruption she believed had taken over the world, and especially the music industry. She made it clear she felt like the industry wasn't just toxic, it was trying to control her, and she wasn't about to let that happen. As one insider put it, they tried to destroy Lauryn, pardon me, Miss Hill's work and legacy, because she didn't want to do another Miseducation the way they wanted her to. She wanted to make music as her evolution, so through that, they tried to discredit her. Lauryn wasn't interested in the fake glamour, the fame, or the toxic energy that came with it. She was done playing the industry's game. Instead, she declared she was on a mission to find her true purpose, choosing authenticity and spirituality over the pressures of the spotlight. Lauryn Hill wasn't just stepping back, she was reclaiming her voice on her own terms. "I've been put in this unique position. I have this very unique responsibility that God has made me aware of while I still have the mic." Sounds powerful, right? But while some fans were nodding along, others weren't so sure. As Lauryn Hill's public messages became more intense, her audience began to divide. She wasn't just rejecting the music industry anymore. She was taking aim at something much bigger. The music industry is just the microcosm of the world. So whenever you stand for something and you stand for goodness and truth, you will always get resistance. That's period. Whether you're in the pharmaceutical industry, the record industry, or whatever. Lauryn started addressing government conspiracies, social injustices, and even questioning the systems that most people take for granted. She voiced her commitment to global change, saying, "I always want to be involved in anything that's helping to develop countries that have not seen the proper access or just fairness in terms of development, change, and growth." Her passion for these topics became part of her identity, and it didn't go unnoticed. But her concerts? They became as controversial as her views. At one show in particular, Lauryn went on a long, emotional rant preaching about society's broken systems and urging people to wake up. The media wasn't kind. They dragged her, calling her speech an incoherent ramble. Lauryn, however, stood her ground. She insisted she was using her platform to spread the truth, even if people weren't ready to hear it. Whether you viewed her as enlightened or thought she was taking things too far, one thing was clear. Lauryn Hill wasn't afraid to speak her mind, no matter the cost. If we can do all these things, digitally, technologically, economically, we can feed people, we can educate people, we can solve the problems of poverty. Poverty isn't even something that should exist exist in this world at this point because we have wealth, we have intellect, we have the ability to develop and design and create whatever we want to. The question is, do we want to? That's what we have to ask ourselves. This new spiritually awakened Lauryn didn't just talk differently, she lived differently. She became reclusive, performing only when she felt it aligned with her truth. But when she did perform, woo, let's just say patience became a requirement. Fans often waited hours for Lauryn to show up, and sometimes she wouldn't even finish her set. It didn't take long for frustration to bubble over, and her reputation took a serious hit. But Lauryn, she wasn't about to apologize. She made it clear she was living her truth, regardless of what anyone thought. As her behavior grew more unpredictable, whispers about her mental health began to surface. Fans speculated that her reclusive lifestyle and erratic performances pointed to deeper struggles. Former band members and staff even chimed in, describing her as intense, with sky-high expectations that could be difficult to meet. If you didn't align with Lauryn's vision, you were out. Her need for control became a talking point, but Lauryn brushed off the criticism with her signature confidence. She claimed she was just expressing herself in her own unfiltered way. Despite the raised eyebrows and side comments, Lauryn insisted she was fine, fully embracing her journey on her terms, not anyone else's. But while Lauryn's journey seemed like one few could follow, it wasn't over yet. After years of unpredictability, she made another attempt to step back into the spotlight. Fans, hungry for the brilliance of the miseducation of Lauryn Hill, were ready and waiting. But as always, Lauryn was on her own schedule, and her return wasn't without its complications. If there's one thing about Lauryn Hill though, it's this: she'll always keep us talking. Lauryn Hill attempted to reignite her music career, even teaming up with hip-hop legend Nas for a highly anticipated tour. But for fans expecting a smooth ride, it turned into a roller coaster. Lauryn's infamous late arrivals continued, frustrating audiences, and her reimagined versions of classic hits left fans divided. While some were captivated by her bold reinterpretations, others were left questioning if the Lauryn Hill they fell in love with would ever truly return. And then, just when the chaos seemed to settle, another bombshell dropped. Her former Fugees bandmate, Pras Michel, slapped her with a lawsuit. A co-founder of the Fugees is suing Lauryn Hill for fraud. Pras filed the federal lawsuit blaming Hill for breach of contract over their scuttled 2023 reunion tour. The tour was cut short when Hill claimed vocal strain made her unable to perform, and a planned 2024 tour was canceled. The accusations didn't stop there. Pras also claimed Lauryn committed fraud related to a planned Miseducation anniversary tour that was canceled before it even began. According to him, Lauryn's last-minute decision to pull out left everyone involved hanging. For fans, it was just another chapter in the endlessly dramatic saga that seems to follow Lauryn's life and career. But Lauryn, she wasn't about to let a lawsuit or anything else derail her journey. In true Lauryn Hill fashion, she brushed off the negativity, standing firm in her vision and refusing to let the noise dictate her path. Today, Lauryn Hill's life looks vastly different, but her legacy remains as monumental as ever. With a reported net worth of $9 million, she makes occasional appearances, continuing to hold her head high as a mother, an artist, and a woman who's weathered it all. She may not be releasing albums or following the traditional playbook of a music career, but her influence is undeniable. So what's the real story here? Is Lauryn Hill a victim of an unforgiving industry, or has she created a legacy entirely on her own terms, lawsuits and all? One thing is for sure, Lauryn Hill's story is as legendary as her voice, and even now she keeps the world guessing.